Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 106. I'm your host, Rico, here with my co-host,
Mr. Dayne Cody.
Mr. Dayne Cody. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Welcome back. We've been away.
Of a bitch. You've been away.
Totally
lounging on a beach, you son of a bitch.
So apologies, everyone, for missing an episode and being late.
Yeah, man, we got to be careful. The giant Beastcast guys are going to catch up to us if we keep missing episodes like this.
Yeah, seriously, they're not. I think they're within 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah, finally. Because we've taken a couple of breaks and they have not.
Yeah, well, if we had a fancy studio and got paid money to be here,
that's true.
That'd be okay. We might not ever miss episodes.
When you put it like that, you make a good point.
We probably could have recorded from Hawaii.
Don't tell me this.
I had my MacBook. It would have been hard, but if we really wanted to make an effort, we probably could have.
It's fine.
I was too busy playing in the pool.
Exactly.
Chilling in the sun.
Do you really want to piss your wife off when you're in Hawaii because you wanted to record an episode?
Catching skin cancer. Getting a tan.
Yeah. Wait, what? I don't know what I'm yang to at that point.
It was great, man.
Awesome.
I apologize. I feel bad because so many people were messaging me and, where's my episode? And I guess they didn't see the Facebook post and the Twitter post. So, they were
apologies to all of those peeps.
Hitting me up on Twitter. Back. Specifically, even just friends texting me, where the hell is the freaking episode? Better be extra long. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if it'll be extra long, but we're back.
We are back.
And I apologize. My vacation was very nice.
We're back, and we're a little bit late, but we are back.
Well, I'll talk about that in a second. But if you're new, welcome. If you've never been here before, I'll give you the laydown. Returning listeners, you obviously know what's coming up. We get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, and whatever the hell we like. Usually get into some what you've been playing, then some news, public service announcements, our free-for-all shit show section, and of course, as always, we open up with our designated drinking section, because you can't be a geekaholic without being an alcoholic.
Oh yeah, that's my style, yo.
Even though I totally failed because I'm just drinking Coke.
Such a filthy casual.
I just came from watching Guardians and we went through the drive-thru at McDonald's.
Excuses.
So I have a nice McDonald's Coke. But yeah, it's not alcoholic.
Nice Coke. That's a crappy fountain drink. Come on.
It's pretty sad. But it's the best fountain drink.
No, it's not. If you want the best fountain Coke, you got to go to Triple O's. They make the best fountain Coke.
Do they?
I don't know what it is. Maybe they add just a little bit extra syrup or something, but their mix is just a little bit better than everybody else's.
We don't have one of those here, so that's not an option.
Well, never mind then.
I did try going, before we get to what you're drinking, I did try going to a Five Guys in Hawaii. Because we went out on a little excursion to Pearl Harbor, and he's not my brother-in-law, but I'd call him my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law's boyfriend.
Okay.
He's like deathly allergic to peanuts, and I just remembered as we were heading there, oh yeah, we can't go to Five, and they're like, why? Well, because when you walk in the door, there's like stacks of boxes of peanuts and shelled peanuts on the floor and on the tables, and pretty sure we don't need you to have an allergic reaction while we're traveling out of country. And
everything is cooked in peanut oil.
Is it?
Yeah, they use peanut oil for their French fries.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
that's why they're so good.
That's a really good extra double reason we didn't go there. Because he's like, oh, as long as I don't eat it. And I'm like, well, I don't think they have it in the burgers. Well, I would have been deathly wrong about the fries.
Yeah, it would have been kind of awkward.
It's a good thing we didn't go there.
There you go.
So what happened when you were in Hawaii? Oh, I killed my brother-in-law. You know,
I mean, at least it's a story, I guess, or something. It would have made the trip memorable.
Yeah, really memorable. I probably would have got in trouble.
Probably. Somebody would have yelled at you at least.
We didn't go. I really wanted to go, though.
Yeah, I can walk to a Five Guys from my house. It's great.
So, Dane, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a gin And soda water with just a splash of lime today.
So that's gin and soda. That's not a gin and tonic. That's different, right?
No, tonic is like
water,
a little bit bitter. Like tonic is a different thing.
And soda water is just carbonated, right?
It's just carbonated water.
I've never had gin and soda.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of tonic water.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking disgusting.
I don't know.
But I can drink gin and tonics, which is weird, but I hate tonic water.
Yeah, I don't mind gin and tonic. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. But I prefer actually gin and soda water. With just a splash of lime. So that's, yeah. And it's nice Hendrick's gin. It's real tasty.
Yummy. Kind
of light. Had such a weird day today.
Did you hear about the recall? The Bombay recall?
Mm-hmm.
They made it too strong.
Too strong, and it got sent out, man.
That's pretty funny.
I would try and find a few of those.
I was going to say, meanwhile, meanwhile, the true alcoholics are like, fuck yeah! Let's go get some extra potent gin.
I mean, I heard it was somewhere in the range of like 70% or something.
Whoa!
Like that. Yeah, it was pretty high. So I can definitely understand why they
40 something or
30%. 40% is usually gin.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I could understand how they would have to recall it, because if you were thinking that it was regular gin,
you could
make yourself a drink
poisoning.
And then, you could get into some pretty serious
I could drink
trouble.
5 of those. If you drank 5 of those with that, that probably wouldn't be good.
Exactly. It's like drinking absinthe all the time.
Is that like the free DLC version of, or DLC content for alcohol? It's higher proof.
Yeah, that'd be maybe.
So anyway, I had a nice little vacation. We went to Hawaii. Traveling with the babies was great. She
a little bit challenging, but pretty good.
Well, she just had to have her naps and shit. So, like, the nice thing is that I've spent when we usually go to Hawaii, me and Nikki are kind of like go.
Right.
Go see all the tourist spots, go do all the shit, and have like this list. So we didn't
with the
have
baby.
one.
It forces you to be a little bit more relaxed and not so
like we were
crazy.
At the pool every morning, prime time, wicked seats early because we'd get up early because of the baby.
Right.
Because Hawaii's 3 hours behind us.
Yep.
So, but her internal clock is still our time, so she's getting up at like 5, 6 in the morning, which is fine because we were going to bed really early because 9 o'clock there is like 12 o'clock here, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, we got bit by that during our wedding pretty hard.
Yeah, the first day, oh my god.
Yeah, the first few days for us were pretty rough. We were going to bed awfully early and whatnot.
Yeah, it's weird. It wasn't so bad in the end, but we would get to the pool super early, get a couple hours in, or like have breakfast, go to the pool, get a couple hours in, and then she would nap. So then I would still be like at the beach or the pool, and then we'd go out like on an adventure if we left the hotel, or we'd do like more pool and chilling. And I feel like we took advantage of the amenities at our hotel, like no other trip. Because usually when we go on any vacation, we're like, oh, that went by too fast. We didn't take advantage of the pool enough. We didn't take any downtime. Like, you need a vacation for a vacation because we were running around so much.
Yeah, well, and the thing is like, I don't know about you guys, but my wife, she loves beautiful resorts and very nice hotels. And if you're only using them as a place to crash, you're kind of wasting, in a way, like all of that.
Yeah, you should just stay somewhere shitty if you're going to be out of the place the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like when we got married, we had the incredible suite that we ended up having, the penthouse suite for 5 days or whatever. And I mean, we used that to our advantage.
You guys were at the Surf Rider, right?
Yeah, the Moana.
That place is pretty dope.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
It's definitely, I think, the best hotel in Waikiki.
It's definitely one of them, for sure. There's what is it? It's the Royal Hawaiian right beside it. I actually think is sort of considered It's the super schwanky one.
That one's the purple or pink one, right? Or something.
Yeah, it's the pink one right beside it. But to be fair, like we had dinner there one night, and it was fine. But I didn't think that the resort itself seemed overly great. But I know the Royal Hawaiian, I think, is the oldest resort in Waikiki.
Yeah,
it was the first one. So they're all owned by the same people, anyways. I mean, the Moana, the Waikiki, or the Royal Hawaiian, the Sheraton, they're all owned by the same people, right? They're all owned by the Westin. So,
well, yeah. We were at. I think some people figured out, obviously, because I posted where I was at. But we were at Alani.
Oh, okay.
Which is like the Disney resort hotel there.
Yep.
So it's not in Waikiki; it's in Ko'olina.
Right.
But it's fucking dope. It's a really, really nice hotel, but there's like so much stuff to do there. They have their own private bay, which is fantastic. Because
well, I mean, that's kind of the point of being at the Disney resorts, right? Is that you're able to take advantage of those amenities.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the fun is, right? They
share it with the Four Seasons, and apparently they're building an Atlantis next door.
What?
Yeah, there's a big empty property that's been empty for a few years, and
shit,
people were talking about Atlantis is going to open a place there. So
that's crazy.
They're on the bay next to it, but yeah, it's cool because there's seating and umbrellas. You don't have to cart stuff. You're super close to the hotel. So if you want the ocean's right there. But if you want, I think they have like 3 or 4 pools on the resort. They have like a lazy river that goes through the whole resort. They have water slides.
That's awesome.
They have
lazy rivers are great.
They have a crazy infinity pool. And yeah, we really took advantage and actually relaxed and had a vacation. We did some cool trips. Like I went to Pearl Harbor with my sister-in-law and her boyfriend. And he's an engineer, so he loves planes. Like he's built autonomous planes and stuff like that. Like that was
cool.
Something he was doing in university.
Right.
Actually, him and a bunch of guys were like in a team. Their university for there's a competition back east somewhere in Canada where they fly. You can call them a drone, but they're what do you call it? They're dual wing. They're like planes, not quadcopters, but actual planes, autonomous planes.
Yep.
With like cameras and software and computers and all this stuff, huge range. And they actually are designed with like bays for like delivering cargo and stuff. And it's this big competition. I think they came in second this year.
Oh, wow.
Apparently the team that has won has like dominated this competition for like the last 5 years. So, but apparently they just come from a school that they get lots of money, whereas these guys have to cobble the stuff up together themselves.
Right.
So it's pretty impressive. So he wanted to go to Pearl Harbor and go to the Aviation Museum. We went on
that was actually the one thing that we missed when we were in Hawaii last time was I really wanted to go to Pearl Harbor, but it just with the wedding and everything going
Pearl
on,
Harbor's
we just
cool.
Missed it.
The memorial's like,
kind of depressing.
Sorry, everyone. We're gonna get it. This relates to video games, Call of Duty World War II, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually missing from the outline. I just realized because we haven't talked about that, have we? Or did we? I can't.
Yeah,
no, we did talk about it. Never mind.
We talked about it.
That dropped the day before we recorded. Anyway, so Pearl Harbor's related to video games, World War II, real life. We'll get back on track. Just stick with us.
We will eventually talk about video games on this podcast, I swear.
And TV and movies and whatever the hell we like. But
this is the whatever the hell we like part.
Just mixed up.
Exactly.
So Pearl Harbor's cool. The memorial, it's neat. If I was military, it would probably have more sentimental effect on me. Also, maybe if I lived during Pearl Harbor and or had family like grandparents who'd fought in World War II, probably be a different story.
Yeah, see, for me, my grandfather was in the war. So
yeah, Tristan, my sister-in-law's boyfriend, his grandfather was in the war as well. He's fought for England. He was a pilot. Who became ended up becoming a bomber. I guess a bombardier. Like he flew. Yeah. And then they figured that, you're really smart and you can do math. So he actually calculated and dropped bombs.
Oh, wow.
in the big bombers. So that's pretty crazy. He's got a bunch of he's got a bunch of his medals and stuff. He lived through the war, so I think he just passed away like recently. Yeah. So he wanted to go there. He didn't care about the memorial too much, but like we went to there's like this landing area where they have a submarine, the Bowfin. Yep. They have the Missouri, the battleship, where the Japanese...
All that stuff would be super cool to see.
Where the Japanese surrendered during World War II. And then they have the Aviation Museum, which has a lot of World War II planes. And it also has other stuff that's like more recent. So we went and did that. That was pretty cool. The submarine was cool. That was fun. The memorial's neat, but it'll take you a good half day or a whole day if you go there because it's so busy. They shuttle people out like on little ferries to the memorial, and you only have like 15 minutes, and then you gotta go back because it's not huge, right? It's just this It's this little white structure like building that's on top of. I think it's the Arizona. Is the hull that's sunk there?
Oh, right.
So,
okay. Yeah,
it's right on top of the sunken hull. And then it has your classic, memorial with all the names of people who were lost there. It's definitely would be impactful if it was a closer event to me, but my family's European, so I didn't know anyone there. And like I said,
plus, your family was comes from one of the countries that was neutral during both World Wars.
Yeah.
So they didn't have anybody fighting on either side.
Because we're a bunch of suckers. I don't know if we're suckers. Anyway, I probably wouldn't have wanted to get involved anyway. It's a pretty crazy thing.
Yeah.
What else did we do? Well, we went and explored around the island. It was cool. It was awesome. Anyway, let's talk about. If you go there, Pearl Harbor's pretty neat. I like the Aviation Museum. I love planes. I wanted to be a pilot when I was younger.
I still want to be a pilot. I just don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
It's expensive shit to get your pilot's license.
Yeah. I don't know if I could be a pilot. I probably could, but I don't know. It's a little late to change careers now.
Yeah, I tried, but they were not having any of it.
My wife's friend, her husband is a pilot.
Yep.
For Air Canada. And
okay, yeah, he flies the big planes.
Oh yeah, he flies big planes, and he's away quite a bit, big stints at a time. I think I've talked about him on the show before in general terms. I'll always see him on Steam playing some Total War or some other simulation game.
Yeah.
And I just, whenever I see him online, I just know he's chilling in the hotel room or wherever on a layover.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were talking and I don't know if it's not as glamorous as I think as it used to be, where you could duck off and do stuff, but I think usually it's just like you go to bed and then you're on a shift again and you're flying again. You don't really have time to explore these places you might be staying at overnight.
It kind of depends. Like I have friends of mine that are like flight attendants and stuff, and like sometimes their layovers are like 6-7 hours before they're back on another plane flying out. But other times, like they'll spend a few days before they can kind of get on another plane and stuff. It really depends on where they're flying to and what the schedule's like. So like, there's been quite a few times where she's got to spend a bit of time in some of these places that are pretty cool. I'm thinking of one person in particular, but she really like enjoys it. So, but I know what you mean. It's definitely not quite the way that it used to be. That's for sure.
So yeah, anyway, let's get into what you've been playing.
That's actually going to be a fairly short list for me, even though we've been like, we haven't recorded in a few weeks. I've really only been playing one game. So I'm going to set this up. Last weekend was my wife's high school reunion.
Oh yeah, you were talking about you had to go to that.
Yeah. So the day before, I was getting all my stuff together, getting ready for the weekend or whatever, making sure my Vita was charged and my 3DS was charged and I was like, oh, this is great. I'll make sure that my Switch is charged. I'll take that with me. This is perfect. This is the first time I'm going to take my Switch anywhere. This is awesome. So I sat down and I turned it on, and there was like an update that I needed to install for Zelda. But it wouldn't update. It was like in this weird perpetual, it was super weird. So there was a bar across the bottom, like it was downloading an update.
Yeah, like on the game icon on the home screen.
Exactly, but there was a red X over it. So
that's weird. So
I was like, that's super weird. That's never happened to me before. I can't remember,
you're digital or card? Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, that's really weird. So I restarted my Switch. It was still there. When I tried to click on it, nothing would happen because it was essentially telling me that it needed to install an update. But it wasn't downloading the update. I confirmed that my internet on my Switch was working. It was working fine. It could connect to the internet and everything was showing up. Anyways, so after I fucked around with this for like an hour or more trying to figure out what combination of various things, there is if you select the game, you can archive files, which essentially deletes the update files, but keeps your save data. And after I did that, it would allow me to, after I restarted or after I did that, I was able to download the updates and my Zelda was working fine. And I was like, okay, phew, because I don't want to, be down in the US and fucking around, dealing with all that shit, and because I don't know what my internet's gonna be like when I'm down there.
Annoying.
So I was like, okay, well that's annoying, but it's fine. I was playing, running around, so I was like, okay, cool. So I powered it off. So the next day, I ended up. It kind of was a weird situation where. Initially, me and my wife were going to go down to Seattle and we're going to hang out and kind of have a day to relax, do some shopping, chill out, whatever. But she ended up having to go into work. And because we were only going to take one car, we went down together and I just was like, oh, it's fine. I'll play some Zelda or whatever while you do a few hours of work at your office. So I sat there. I played a few hours of Zelda. It was great. I was like, okay, this is awesome. I found out that the power pack that I bought to play Pokemon Go last summer will actually charge my Switch.
Oh, it's actually strong enough to charge it?
Yeah, it's got a 2.4 amp out, and it's a 9,000 milliamp battery pack, and it actually charges my Switch when I play.
Wow.
So I actually ended up leaving her office with most of a empty battery pack, but a full Switch. So I was like, oh, this is great. So anyways, but I was in the middle of doing something in the game when my wife was like, hey, let's go. And I was like, okay, cool. So I threw it in sleep mode, jumped in the car. We're driving down to Seattle. I pulled it out. I was like, I'm just going to finish what I was doing so that I know I'm good in case something happens. At least I've saved, right? So I'm on top of one of the mountains in the game and I see, I think it was called the Spirit of the Forest.
Oh yeah.
It's like a stag.
Yeah. Big glowy stag.
Yeah. So I crept up on it and I jumped on his back because I wanted to ride him. And I totally did that. And then just as I was trying to calm him down, or her down, I got an error on my Switch. And it was like, there has been an error. Please restart your Switch and try again. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks. But luckily, I just saved a little while ago, so we should be good. So I restarted my Switch. Now my game is corrupted. All of my download, I can't launch the game. Every time I try to launch the game, it says there has been an error and it needs to close. So then it closes. So here I am. I'm down in the US. I'm at a hotel finally, like, because of course, after I realized I couldn't launch the game, I was like, well, fuck that. And I just threw it back in my bag and called it a day. So we get to the hotel and I'm like, okay, well, I'll try the same thing I did the other day and I'll just delete the archive data. I'll delete the updates and hopefully that'll kind of reset things back to normal. Because in the car, I was like, oh, well, I'll just delete the update files and try and play the game. But I think because my game save was for a different version of the game than the base game is,
oh no,
it knew that it must have to download an update, so it wouldn't let me play. So I was like, well, this is stupid. So anyway, so then I get back to the hotel, and my Switch will not connect to the hotel Wi-Fi. Not even a little bit. It was super annoying. The splash page just wouldn't come up. Ever.
Like I would hit OK or put your stupid room number in crap that the hotels usually have.
Absolutely. And that it would just sit. It would just completely hard lock my Switch up. Eventually, I would have to turn it off and turn it back on manually in order to get it to come back alive again. But it would just essentially hang at connecting. So it would and there was even one time where it connected to the access point, but where I think the point of that, like the splash page coming up and me being able to put that information in, it just sat there for like 20 minutes and nothing happened. So I finally just gave up. I wasn't going to tether it to my phone and download a gigabyte worth of updates off my phone. So anyways.
So you couldn't play Zelda.
So yeah, so the whole time I was down there. Luckily, I was able to play Zelda for the whole time that my wife was working and doing her thing. So it worked out okay because that was probably 90% of the time that I needed Zelda to be playable.
Yeah.
But it was disappointing because here it was, the whole holy grail of this system is to be able to play those types of games on the go, to be able to take it with me and play it. And it was super disappointing that I had that kind of issue with something like that. It was not something that I'd anticipated, that's for sure. Like, to have the game crash on me, that's not surprising. Like, fair enough, shit crashes. But to have it essentially corrupt my game where I couldn't even, like, load it after that, and I had to archive my files and re-download all of my updates again, that was annoying.
That is annoying. I wonder, did you figure out why any of this happened?
No idea.
Lame.
I found a thread on Reddit where some people, that's where I found out the whole delete your archive files and re-download them had worked for some people because they had the same.
But no one knew why this was happening.
No.
That's the worst.
Because initially I thought maybe it was just a bad update, but then when I went online, because the update had been out for a couple of days already, so usually if something like that is a bad update, like, lots of people are going to say something about it, right? But it looked like there was just some people that had it. I don't know. It almost seemed like what had happened was the game, like, I don't know if the game lost internet, like,
during an update, so then it couldn't recover and it just shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird because, like, my Switch is, connected to the internet all the time. It's just sitting in my office, like, asleep for most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was super weird. So that was kind of my Zelda story, my Breath of the Wild.
But it's all fixed now, right?
It is, yeah. No, I got home and I downloaded the game again, and we're back in business. I have now finished my first dungeon, or guardian, I guess. I have found my next one, but I decided not to go after it. I've just kind of gotten back into exploring again. I mean, that is one thing that game does so well, that I feel like that game, The Witcher 3, and probably Guild Wars 2, those three games do exploration better than any other game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Those games make you want to just run around the world and find shit and see what's going on, what's over that mountain or what's over that hill. And they all do it so well and like all a little bit different. That being said, one thing I do wish that I could do in Zelda, like The Witcher 3, I wish I could just call my horse whenever the fuck I need it to.
Yeah, it seems like a weird thing that you have to be near your horse. It would be convenient.
Because I find what ends up happening is I get a horse, I run around.
You ditch it to go do something, and then you're super far away, and it's like, oh my god.
And I'm like, I'm not going to run back and get my horse. I'm just going to keep going, and then it's like, who cares, right? So yeah, that's one thing that's a little bit annoying, but no, the fast travel system is great. I've got a few different sets of armor now. I've unlocked a few of the fairies now. I've unlocked 2 of those now. So, armor is most of my armor is at the 2nd or 3rd level now, which is nice. I'm progressing, and I kind of got back into it. I kind of fell off of it a little bit there for a little while. I don't know. I was just kind of, like I'd said before on the show, that I was just kind of done a little bit with the open world stuff, and I want to go back to Horizon as well. That was kind of the other one. And then I just, like I said, I kind of knew this trip was coming, so I was gonna use my Switch as a portable system, and that kind of sucked me back into Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is great. Like that game is really good, and it has a way of sucking you back in. And I do love the fact that when you save, it's like on a PC. You don't, when you come back to that game or load that game for that matter, if you were standing in a field when you saved, you'll still be standing in that field when you load your game. It's none of this like, oh, I'm at the nearest shrine, or I'm at the nearest hotel, or I'm at the nearest whatever. It actually saves where you are. And I love that, because I never feel like I'm wasting time after coming back to a save, because like, oh, well, I was way over here, but because I saved and went away, now I'm sure all my gear and stuff is here, but now I gotta backtrack all the way back to where I was before because I need to go to a waypoint or whatever, right? So I love that about it. That's something that it and The Witcher 3 also have in common that I love. So
yeah, it's nice when you don't have to backtrack for half an hour.
Yeah,
to go where the quest is, where you can just save sitting outside of what you need to do.
Exactly, and then that way when you come back, you're like, oh, cool.
That's right.
I'm gonna go in this cave and kick that dude's ass.
I was doing this and this.
Yeah. Super nice.
I packed my Switch and brought it with me.
Yeah,
but I think I played it twice.
Oh.
I played it on the way there on the plane. Actually, I think my wife played my Switch more than I did.
Puyo Puyo Tetris?
Yes, she played lots of Tetris. So we were trying to compete and see who could get farthest on marathon mode.
Okay. Were you guys playing with the Joy-Cons?
No,
each one of you?
I had to, either the baby was sleeping on me on the plane or I was entertaining her and vice versa.
Okay.
So we didn't actually get to play any multiplayer because one of us was always handling the kid. So
okay.
But I played some Mario Kart. I saw two other people with Switches on the plane, which is pretty impressive.
Wow.
I think
that's impressive.
I think that's more than I've ever seen 3DSs or Vitas in the wild, like with the exception of going to like PAX, right? Or E3. But like this is like on the plane. There was like
where
two
everybody
other
on the plane or in the area has everything that you do.
So she managed to play more than I did. So obviously the last time we recorded was just before Mario Kart 8 came out.
Yeah.
So before we left on the trip, I did play quite a bit of Mario Kart. Man, that game's beautiful on the Switch. Holy cow. When you're playing that thing on the Switch and you just, this is so impressive. I'm holding this thing and I'm playing obviously a souped up slightly improved version from the Wii U version. Don't get me wrong. It was fantastic on Wii U, but to have it with you everywhere you go, an awesome game. Like,
I'm super on the fence about Mario Kart because I didn't buy it for the Wii U, so I haven't played it.
If you didn't buy it for the Wii U, it's probably even better for someone like you. Like, I already had it
know.
on the Wii U and played tons of it. So for me, it's like, oh, I've done these courses. I've seen this stuff. The biggest thing
wondering
is,
for me, like, because like Mario Kart 64, I think the most that I played of that game was with other people. By far.
That's it. This is going to be like the E3 PAX game.
And I'm wondering how much of Mario Kart 8 I'm going to play by myself.
If your wife's going to play it with you, it'll be a fun play it with someone else game.
And I don't have my Switch set up in the living room TV. My Switch is set up on my office TV.
Yeah, see, it's not too hard to move your dock to the other TV.
No, it's not.
But I was actually playing it on tabletop mode, like in the commercials, with my niece. Like, we were playing with the Joy-Cons. Yeah, and I was playing with my brother, and that was a lot of fun at my parents' house because I always have my shit with me.
Right.
And they're like, check this out. And we were like playing multiplayer, and that was a lot of fun because having the Switch is you have a 2-player game wherever you go, which was pretty fun.
Fair enough.
It's not terrible when you slide on.
How was it playing with just the Joy-Cons?
It's hard.
There?
It's hard. Excuse me. Yeah.
It's Friday.
It's hard without the little adapter sliding on the top to give you the better shoulder buttons.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you kind of need to bring those with you?
Yeah, because you can play without it. We were playing, the first time I had done multiplayer, it had been like that. I didn't have those.
Right.
And for me, it was really hard to use the shoulder buttons. So for using items and hopping to start sliding, it was really hard. Like, controlling gas and the analog was fine. Is just using the shoulder buttons because they're without that little adapter that slides on the top to kind of make it a more proper controller.
Right.
It's just like tiny indented buttons, which are really hard to hit with your fingertips. And it's like, and it's so small, it just felt weird.
Yeah. I actually slid my Joy-Cons off, I think for the first time since I bought my Switch when we were down in Seattle, because I was just messing around with it. And yeah, those little nubbins are not great for that. That's for sure.
No, but anyway, yeah, it worked. Like, we had a lot of fun. My niece is like 5 years old. It's like the first time she played, and she's like going crazy. She wants to play more, and she's and in Mario Kart 8 they added like an assist mode. So for like people who suck. Or not suck, but kids.
Or are younger.
It's more of a kid-friendly
don't play
mode.
Video games.
It keeps them on the track.
Right.
So instead of her always like driving off the track or hitting the railings, it keeps them on the course, which is really cool. She's never really played a video game like this ever. My brother is not a huge gamer. He was, but he plays so sporadically now, even though he has a PS4 and he has an Xbox One, but he like barely touches them.
Wow.
So she was playing, like, she was coming in last place, and then in her last race, she was like in 7th place because she finally started getting used to it. But had that mode not been in that game, I don't think she would have done as well because she would have been going off the course all the time. I haven't played battle mode. I'm excited to play battle mode because they fixed battle mode in this one.
Yeah, I heard they made it.
I did play battle mode. That's a lie. I did play against my brother, but I had this was without the little slide-on shoulder buttons for the Joy-Con. I had such a hard time controlling that I just did terrible.
But I mean, he was probably not great either.
Well, he did better than me.
Fair enough.
He beat me. I don't know how I did so bad. I was just like, what the hell? That game is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to play that like wirelessly with a group of people. I think that would be a freaking riot. And you can play it online. I haven't bothered. Again, I've been gone. So it came out. I think we were home for 3, maybe 4 days and then went on our trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But man, that's a dope game. It was a dope game on Wii U, and on Switch it's even better. So I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, like I said, I'm like super on the fence. There's a part of me.
If you're not going to play it with anyone, it's still a good game, but all you're going to be doing is the Grand Prix of all the courses and all the circuits, right?
Yep.
And then you're going to be done. But, it's a Nintendo game, so it'll never go on sale, but
I know that's the only bummer.
If you don't need it now, you could probably hold off until we go to PAX.
It's one of those things where for me, it's just that there's so many games out right now.
Yeah,
and
like catch up on your backlog.
I don't even have enough time to play the ones that I have.
True.
You know, maybe what I'll do is maybe if I finish Zelda, then I'll pick it up after, because that way it's at least a new game for my Switch, right?
I did try playing Persona from Hawaii with remote play.
Oh, with remote play? How'd that go?
The internet connection in the hotel wasn't fast enough.
No, I don't imagine it would be.
I was so angry. I'm like, oh, I can play Persona from the hotel room while she's sleeping. This is sweet. And it's like, internet connection is too slow to support remote play or whatever the hell the freaking error was. So I was kind of choked about that.
Yeah, the hotel that we were staying at in Seattle had, because we were members of the, I don't know what the points club thing or whatever it is with them, we get free internet when we stay with them. But it's only, I think, 3 megs down. I can't remember. They limit the speed pretty heavily. But of course, there's 3 tiers above that one that you can pay for and are actually not shitty, which I wasn't planning on paying for because I didn't care enough. But I just thought it was kind of amusing that they were doing that. So
I think it was 5 down and like 1 up, or I don't know.
Yeah,
half a meg up.
The top tier at our hotel, the one that you could pay for, and I don't remember how much it was because I never even clicked on it. I think was 20 down and 5 up or something. So, which is not great, but it's not terrible. So, but
definitely not fast enough. I tried.
Yeah. But no, for me, outside of Zelda, that's really about all I've been playing.
Yeah, I played some Persona when I got back, but we don't need to talk about that. I guess we.
How far are you in Persona now?
I'm in July.
Okay.
I don't know how long.
When does it? Is it November or December? That
no,
the game
I think
ends?
it's a whole. Remember. I think it's a whole year. So I think it goes to like March or April.
So you're almost halfway. Right around the halfway mark?
I have no idea. I don't think so. No. Maybe a quarter of the way through. I've done 3 dungeons, and I think there's 7.
I thought there was only 5.
No, there's more.
Oh, there's like 5 main ones and like 2
there's
kind of not ones?
I don't know, because I just looked at a whatchamacallit, a spoiler-free walkthrough. And and it looks like there's 7. I'm really trying not to
spoil it for yourself.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it looks like I don't think I'm even halfway.
Oh wow! All right, that's fair. That's fair.
With that being said, I think we can get into the news, my friend.
Yeah,
the news. So, speaking of Nintendo and Switches, Nintendo. Obviously, it's like quarter end reports have gone out for a bunch of companies lately in the past week or two. So lots of numbers have been popping up, and or announcements. But Nintendo let it be known that they've sold 2.74 million. I don't know why that number's so specific, but 2.74 million Switches. Switch is doing all right, outselling the Wii U launch.
Well, seeing as the lifetime sales of the Wii U are around 13 million?
No, I don't think they're that high, my friend.
10 million?
Yeah.
I know they were right around 10 million a while ago.
I think they're around 9 or 10. Yeah, the Wii U was a bomb for them. So they're doing all right with a huge attach rate for freaking Zelda. Apparently there's more copies of Zelda sold than there are Switches, which is pretty hilarious.
So that's a higher attach rate than 1-to-1. Like that's what happened. Some people bought Zelda thinking they were going to buy a Switch and then haven't been able to find a Switch yet.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, and I think a little bit of people buying collector's editions and normal editions.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
Even though, I don't know, the collector's edition wasn't that amazing. The Master Edition was cool because of the sword, but as expensive as collector's edition.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good news. The Switch is doing well. They had a bunch at Mario Kart 8's launch, so a whole new wave of people were able to pick them up.
So I heard that right at the beginning of the Switch launch, Nintendo was actually shipping Switches on airplanes to try and alleviate the supply limits that they were having during like the launch window, which is crazy when you think about them loading up a bunch of Switches on airplanes and stuff and shipping them over. Like, that cannot be cheap. They must have lost money on some of those, but it goes to show that they're trying their best to get Switches into the hands of gamers, because they must know that, if this thing is hot, people want it. If they can get that thing into those people's hands, it gives them less time to think about it and go, you know what, maybe I'll hold off until Splatoon 2 comes out, or maybe I'll hold off until Mario comes out, or maybe, which is smart. So, but it's just crazy, the fact that they're willing to go that far, because normally these things get filled up in giant crates and then shipped over, that takes like a month or whatever from China or Japan all the way over to North America. Like, those things are not fast boats. They take a very long time.
I didn't see it, but apparently there's a funny image on the internet somewhere of like a plane with like Switches in the plane seats, like a commuter plane.
That's funny.
Which is kind of funny. Speaking of Nintendo, out of freaking left field, Nintendo announces a new 3DS? No? 2DS?
2DS?
The 2DS new... Jesus Christ, this is the fucking worst name for a console. New Nintendo 2DS XL. So basically it's a 3DS XL with no
minus
3D,
the 3D
and a little slimmer clamshell design 2DS, which looks okay.
I'm not going to lie, it looks really good.
I like the form factor.
I hate that it doesn't have 3D on it.
I like the form factor. I hate the colors. I wonder if they
like
get
the black with the
so
teal? It comes in black and the same
and
color as the blue as the Switch Joy-Con is. And then there's also a white and orange one.
That's a Japanese one, apparently, or European one. We're only getting the black one here.
I think it looks cool.
It looks cool. I don't need it. I have a 3DS XL. I also have a 3DS.
You already 3DS. Have a new 3DS.
I have two 3DSs. I have the XL and the non-XL.
Of course you do.
I'll probably buy this stupid thing because I'm a fucking idiot. Maybe I'll wait for a special edition version of it, because I'm not a huge fan of... I like the blue. I don't like how it's got a weird ring around
I think it looks cool.
I feel it looks cheaper, more like a toy, or like a Nerf toy or something. I don't know. I don't like it. Like, I like it.
It depends on what it feels like.
The form factor's dope. People say it feels good. The size is good. It's slimmer. It's lighter.
The screen's going to be better too.
I just don't like that.
Just better quality screens.
I just think it's weird with the blue ring around the outside.
I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, but you're always wrong.
You just got to stop being such a hater.
But the story here is like, what the... It's confusing. It's not confusing.
I mean, I get it. Ultimately, they were like, you know what? We can, one, save money by removing the 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Two, a bunch of our newer games need all the horsepower they can get, so the 3D doesn't even work on them anyways. I get it, but at the same time, I thought you were... I don't know. It's a weird move when you've just released the Switch.
Yeah.
Because I have a hard time believing that the 3DS/2DS is really going to be that much of a thing in another year. When you've got the Switch, which can be those handheld devices.
So the 3DS is
when they're not when they're not working.
I guess
when they are working. Sorry.
I guess the 3DS family of systems has an install base of over 61 million globally. So that's pretty impressive. So it makes sense. We know that there's software or like security issues with the existing 3DSs. So this is probably a little bit of a hardware upgrade to combat that scene as well.
Right.
And like you said, there are a few more games still coming. Like there's a new Fire Emblem coming out, next week or the week after?
Is it already that soon?
Yeah. And
man.
I think there's another I can't even remember the news from that Fire Emblem Direct. There's like 50 Fire Emblem games coming.
Yeah,
obviously
I haven't even finished the one on my mobile.
It's just surprising. I just did not expect this. I would have thought they would have just done a minor revision for the existing systems, but hey, it's a good selling system. They're making money there, so it is weird with the Switch though. But I guess it's not impacting. They're different systems, different customers.
Well, they're different price points. Like I get it. This is $150 US. Which means they're probably going to sell it for $200 Canadian, where the 3DS is selling for what, $250 Canadian?
Mm-hmm.
So, but to me, that's just I guess $250 to $400 for the Switch in Canadian dollars. That's quite a leap. So it's still there is definitely still, I think, room probably for this. So yeah, okay.
Stupid thing. Coming out, was it June or July? It was just there and I closed it. Sorry.
July 28th.
Yeah, so that's when, the Hey Pikmin.
Same day as Hey Pikmin and Miitopia.
And I think there's new Amiibo that day as well. I think that's
I'm sure.
the new Corrin, Bayonetta, and Cloud Amiibo, I think, are those days as well. So Darksiders apparently leaked via Amazon and then was promptly confirmed with a proper trailer. And now, obviously, IGN had a exclusive. I think IGN had the exclusive proper reveal. Now, I assume this is ahead of maybe when they plan to announce it or not.
I think what ended up happening was I think that IGN had the first reveal ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Amazon kind of screwed that up a bit. So then I think IGN got the go ahead to just get it out there.
So there's a trailer coming out 2018, apparently. I'm sure it's going to be at E3. PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Darksiders 3. It's basically the same studio that made the first Darksiders, or the first two, except they have a new name now.
Yeah, I mean, Virgil was the studio that made the first two. But a lot of the guys that made the first two created a new studio afterwards.
Yeah, Gunfire Games.
Because THQ, for anybody out there who didn't know, they went bankrupt. And a lot of their properties got bought up by a company called Nordic Games, which has since actually renamed their studio
THQ?
or their publishing house to THQ Nordic.
Yeah, they bought the THQ name as well.
Yeah, so they're the ones that bought quite a few of these old THQ properties.
So it's a new old studio.
Exactly. So I mean, obviously, not everybody that was at the old studio is there. For example, Joe Madeira was the art director.
Yeah, he's doing his
at
own. He has
Virgil
his own
Games.
thing now.
He's a comic book artist. He's actually one of my favorite comic book artists. So he's actually, him and his brother and a few other people, they started their own studio.
Yeah, they're doing
Airship Syndicate.
Battle Chasers, right?
And they're currently in the making Battle Chasers. So he's over there working on that. And the original Darksiders and Darksiders 2, he was the art director and kind of he's the guy that set the tone for the art in the first two games and the style and kind of that's actually one of the things I think that I loved so much about both of those games was just the art and the way that he drew the characters and everything, which is super cool. I mean, I obviously, it's not for everyone or whatever, but I think it's super neat and I really, really like it. This has a very similar feel, but it's not quite the same. What I do like though is that they are continuing the story, so they're not just using the name and going in a different direction or whatever. They're actually continuing the story. The first game was one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It was the first game followed war, and the second game followed death. And in the story and in the universe of Darksiders, they'd already touched upon the other 2 horsemen, one of which was Fury. I know if everybody's going like, wait a minute, I thought Pestilence and Famine were the other 2 horsemen. The guys kind of addressed that originally back when they were doing the universe and stuff, and they just said, like, I don't think that there was any way that we could have created characters to represent that would have worked very well from a video game perspective. So they made a couple other different ones, one of which was Fury. So in this third game, you're going to be playing as Fury, and which happens to be a female character. She's got this big ass whip that looks like something out of a Castlevania's game's nightmare. Like, it's badass. It's this badass whip with angry chain links on it that does like massive damage, it looks like. And
and clearly she's one of the horsemen as well as her 2 brothers who Death and War, which were from the second and first game.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
And it does. It looks super neat.
It's a nice.
Apparently, the one thing that's a bit of a bummer, and like, I can't really say this because I haven't finished it yet, which is kind of my pile of shame, and I'm actually. That might be changing soon. I'm probably going to be going back to it because I'm going to want to finish it. But I've heard that the first game ends on an incredible cliffhanger that the second game does not answer, because the second game happens more or less during a very similar time frame as the first game. And apparently this game, the one coming out, happens also in a very similar time frame to that first game. So I'm not sure if we're going to see the conclusion to that cliffhanger. So that'll be kind of interesting.
I just think it's a nice, pleasant surprise because
I was super
no one
excited
knew
about
what
it.
was going on with this franchise, which is a pretty good franchise.
Yeah, there's only 2 games. One of the first game, like I said before, was the best Zelda game that had been released since Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It's an incredible, it was very much, it's funny now because it's actually more of a traditional Zelda game than Breath of the Wild is. Go figure.
Yeah.
The second one changes that up a bit, and it definitely doesn't quite have the same feel. It kind of brings about more loot and almost has a bit more of a God of War vibe to it. But still, I think it's great to see this franchise coming back from what could have been Oblivion. So
yeah, it is cool.
Makes me very happy.
If you remember,
kind of bummed that Joe Mad isn't doing the art again, though.
That's all right. His game's going to be dope.
His game is going to be dope. I'll be coming soon.
I'll be buying that on Switch. They said it was coming for Switch.
I already bought it.
We talked about this probably a few months ago, how Overwatch and loot box probabilities were going to have to be announced or like revealed in China. So that has finally come to fruition. The drop rates are revealed in, I guess, the Chinese version of the game.
Right.
So I think a lot of the math from Redditors and stuff wasn't far off, but now just having the official numbers, basically epic items are found 1 in every 5.5 loot boxes. On average. Legendary, is legendary the best? No, guaranteed rare in every box or better. And then epic. And then legendary, which are the really hard to get ones, are once in every 13.5 loot boxes. On
average, I get.
Yeah. So the thing with Overwatch I appreciate is you can earn loot boxes for free at a pretty decent clip. So you don't have to spend any money. It is only all cosmetics, so it doesn't affect gameplay. The thing that annoys me is I just wish I could just... You can kind of buy the skins you want, sort of, but you can't. Like event skins, you can only buy during events, and they're really expensive with the in-game credit system you get when you get duplicate items. So grinding that out takes a long time. But,
yeah.
You know, you don't have to pay anything, but I just wish I could just buy... I want that skin. $5. Boom. Pay for it.
Yeah, that would be nice. Instead, you got to grind in-game money, and then you can use the in-game money to buy the loot boxes
or you have
skins or whatever that you want.
Or you have to do the lottery thing. But hey, now you know. Now you know your odds. I think that should be.
I do want to point out that we're not 100% sure if the Chinese region version of Overwatch drops are different or not.
I don't
than they are
see why they would be different. Doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I'm just saying
this is true.
It could be different. More people over there. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there is a possibility that they may tweak that stuff, and it could be region dependent. So,
yeah.
But at least that gives us a pretty good idea that if it's not region dependent, then we know exactly what it is. And if it isn't, well, it gives us at least a good idea of what these are looking like.
Yeah. Do you remember that Nintendo PlayStation we talked about a while ago?
Heck yeah.
Someone found in a bottom of a box of stuff from their dad's days as a janitor, yada yada, long story short. Anyway, the Sony Nintendo.
But the Sony But when they pulled it out, the disk drive didn't work.
Yeah, like they could play Famicom games, seemed to work. But the
Super Famicom games.
Yeah, the CD-ROM drive didn't work. So, console hacker extraordinaire, Ben Hack, which if you don't know who that is, you clearly don't spend as much time as most of us other nerds do on the internet. He's famous for making like laptop Xbox 360 and portable Super Nintendo. Like he makes these crazy like gamer centric like Frankenstein systems and mods and so forth. Like
you want to see some of the cool shit that he does?
Yeah.
He has a channel on YouTube called The Ben Heck Show.
Yeah, he has his own show. He's been doing stuff for a really long time. So anyway, I guess I don't know if he contacted the guys who found it or they contacted him. And yeah, he's restored it. He like re-soldered capacitors and had to figure out what chips were that needed to be replaced and so forth. And he resurrected it from the grave. It'll now load code off the CD-ROM. Not that any games were ever released for it, but that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
So apparently they managed to get a few homebrew games working on it just to test that the hardware does indeed work. Yeah. And apparently it does.
There's a video on YouTube in the link that we shared, so you can go check it out for yourself. But that's really freaking cool.
That thing looks really cool. It looks super weird. You see the Sony PlayStation, but it has a Super Nintendo slot on it.
And the controller ports.
Yeah,
imagine
the controller
how different
ports
the landscape. Imagine how different the landscape of the gaming scene would be if Nintendo didn't fuck up and tell Sony to go away.
You mean the night before they were supposed to do that presentation at E3?
That's so weird. It would be so. Sony might not. The PlayStation, as we know it now, may not even have existed. It still could have just been Nintendo.
Yeah,
and Microsoft.
Yeah,
weird.
It could have been a very different thing. That's for sure.
So, in other leaks, man, this is a leaky week. I guess this is coming up.
We're leading up to E3.
Yeah,
right?
leading up to E3. Shit's leaking. Apparently, an off-screen image was posted on surprise Reddit of the new Assassin's Creed game. Leaked Assassin's Creed Origins. This is the one that is rumored to take place in Egypt, I believe.
Yep.
It looks like the ship, I don't know if ship combat, but there's definitely ships in it.
It looks like it's kind of bringing a bit of the stuff from Black Flag as far as, like you said, the
which
ships
is,
and
which
whatnot.
is my favorite
This is
one.
supposed to be set quite a bit earlier than all the other games.
It's a prequel. I guess.
To pretty much all of them. So this would have been set. I mean, again, assuming rumors are true, this one would have been set quite a bit before, the other games in ancient Egypt, more or less. So, which is kind of an interesting thought. I don't know. It has been 2 years since we've had.
I think I can do with another Assassin's Creed. It's been a while. I think the
gaming landscape is ready for it finally.
The fatigue of an Assassin's Creed every year has gone away. I could probably play another one.
Well, because what was the last one? Syndicate, right?
Yeah, which wasn't bad.
Which, I heard was pretty well received.
Decent. Yeah, it was better than Unity. Was a mess. Syndicate was a recovery, but still not, I think, to the peak of the franchise. It was still a good game. I really like the Assassin's Creed games. The Black Flag was the peak for me. I think I did everything in that game, and then I
own a copy of Black Flag for the PS4, and it's sitting in plastic on my shelf. And I own a copy of Black Flag that's installed on my Xbox One. So I own 2 copies of that game, and I've not played.
If you haven't played Assassin's Creed, I don't know if it's. I don't think it necessarily has the best story, but I think it has the funnest gameplay loop. Like the ship-to-ship combat, pirate ship combat is great. The pirate sea shanties is great. I like that game a lot. I don't know if we talked about it last week, but there was an update to Bayonetta on Steam, and people figured out that there was an image to Vanquish stuffed in there, a little JPEG, and then obviously to confirm rumors, there's suspicions that Vanquish was coming from Sega. It is
sure enough.
It's
Vanquish
now
is coming.
Vanquish is coming to Steam.
May 25th.
Yeah, so that's a pretty well-regarded Platinum game. Think I own it on PS4 or Xbox, PS3 or Xbox 360. It was it was a PSN or a Games with Gold. I can't remember. I got it free somewhere at some point. I never played it, but people really like it and are pretty excited for it to come on PC.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those games. Some people love it. Some people thought it was fine. I don't believe it's overly long. I've heard that you could probably play through the whole game in 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours. Mm-hmm. But obviously there is some other stuff in there to kind of keep you coming back and whatnot. But yeah, it's an interesting game, that's for sure. So happy to see it come off of the console landscape and to be able to be played on the PC.
Yeah,
that stuff makes me excited, actually, because having Bayonetta and Vanquish, and hopefully, I don't know we'll ever see Bayonetta 2 on anything besides a Nintendo platform, because Nintendo was the one that published that game. But here's hoping that maybe it'll open the doors to some other stuff.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Where are we? Nintendo revealed its E3 plans. Well, I could have freaking told you this information.
It's going to be the same as last year and the year before.
Yeah, and the year before. They're doing they call it the Nintendo Spotlight, which is basically a E3-centric direct. The morning of the show opening at 9, which will probably go till 10 or 10:30, and then basically E3 opens, which is going to be a spotlight on Nintendo Switch, games coming for 2017, including Super Mario Odyssey. And then, of course, over the next 3 days, they're going to have like streams nonstop from the show floor, Treehouse streams, and then they're going to have like a live Splatoon and ARMS tournaments live from the E3 booth. So not news, because that's pretty much what they've done every year for the last few years since they ditched the big press conference.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's coming for Switch. There's some rumors about the Pokemon Switch game, Pokemon Stars. There was a video released on or removed from the Nintendo channel a Pokemon Sun and Moon video that was released or removed from their channel. People have said that, videos have been removed from Nintendo's channels as well when the information is no longer relevant or incorrect. So everyone's suspicion is that there's going to be the new Pokemon game on Switch. So that would make that video have incorrect information. So hence why it's been removed. But that's a lot of speculation. But we have heard rumors of a Switch Pokemon coming in the first year. That's already been said by Pokemon company. So whether it's a mainline, who knows? If it is the semi-sequel or the remixed third version that they usually do.
Oh, yeah.
That's essentially...
that'd be great. I haven't played the other ones,
that'd be
so
dope.
that'd be a perfect way for me to play it.
See, I don't want to carry my 3DS anymore. I just want my Switch. My Switch is replaced, I feel like, the 3DS. I just don't want to carry my 3DS anymore. So I can't wait until there's a Fire Emblem on the Switch and games. It'd be awesome if the Switch could just play 3DS games or virtual console them or something. I don't know. It doesn't really work because there's no two screens, but hey.
So the only issue, I was going to say with the Switch, one of my only issues with the Switch is this is one area where you and I differ. You've decided this generation with the Switch that you are going digital only with the Switch games. And
yes,
I would love to do that. But until Nintendo can get their shit together in regards to moving save games and various other things from console to console, or for example, if I had or lost or had a console get destroyed, if I could buy a new one and log in and re-download all of my previous purchases, that's one thing. But until they sort that shit out, man, I cannot give them any money for digital downloads. I can't.
It's kind of scary.
The other day, I almost thought about, grabbing Mario Kart 8 or something from the Switch store. And I was just like, you know what? It's scary enough already because it's a console that can be moved and you're taking it with you. There's always that chance that it's either going to get stolen or it's going to get dropped and broken. And the fact that I won all my save games, Nintendo is saying they don't even know if they can pull off of that thing. That's terrifying to me. So yeah, as far as digital strategy goes, they need to get that shit sorted out. They really do, because that's where I'm at with digital games on the Switch. I would love to buy some of them, and it would make my life so much easier. But until they figure that out, I don't know if I can. But
I think that stuff's gonna come. They're gonna fix in time. They had to get the system out. I assume it's stuff they're gonna fix. It's just growing pains. But yeah, it is. If they don't,
I hope that you're right, and I agree with you. But because this is Nintendo, I feel like at the same time, I can't just leave that in their hands and hope that they will. Because let's be honest, they're still using friend codes. They have 2 different account systems across various platforms, and they're still using friend codes. So telling me to have faith that Nintendo will sort it out is a little bit hard to come by. I hope you're right. I really do. But until they figure that shit out, I'm gonna stick to cards. I really am. Because at least that way, sure, if something happens to my Switch or whatever, my save games are gone and there's no way to get them back. But at the very least, I have the games, and they're not, linked to an account that I may or may not be able to get them off of.
Yeah.
So,
in a kind of weird story. Well, it's not really weird. It's just a testament of don't do stupid shit and put it on YouTube. This is fucking 2017. People, stop being dumb and fucking incriminating yourself online doing stupid shit. It's fucking a no-brainer. So some Russian YouTuber, blogger, whatever the fuck you want to call him, shared a video of him playing Pokemon Go in a Russian church. Well, guess what? You're not allowed to do
that go down.
You're not allowed to do shit like that. He was arrested and basically given a sentence of 3 years in prison. Now, he's not going to jail. He did get a suspended sentence, so 3.5 year suspended sentence, which means is if he does anything, so like say he gets a speeding ticket or anything that has like a criminal charge, he will get the full 3.5 sentence charged or slapped on top of any other thing. So he's essentially on probation for 3.5 years. So
wow.
Very lucky. Cause they don't fuck around in Russia. But
I'm not gonna lie, that seems a little hard.
It is. It's excessive. It seems weird. But
when you think about people that rape girls in the United States only getting 9 months, and then this guy's got 3.5 years. I mean, I understand that this is a suspended sentence, so he didn't actually serve any time.
No.
But still, like,
but man,
that's messed up.
What it says is there's 2 lessons here: don't do stupid shit. And religious people are crazy. So don't do stupid shit involving religious people or you're going to pay the price.
Also, don't do that in Russia.
Yeah, like if you're going to do something in public, make sure you know the rules and that you aren't offending anyone because you're basically hanging yourself by the noose when you upload the fucking video to YouTube. Because even if you take it down, it's going to be out there still. So lucky ass freaking guy. Because I know I sure as hell wouldn't want to go to Russian jail.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure that is definitely not fun. Prison is not fun. But
I don't speak Russian, so that would be super awkward.
I couldn't imagine Russian prison.
No.
You're dead. There's definitely going to be some bad stuff going down there.
Yeah.
In a weird bit of news or unexpected bit of news.
In a more weird bit of news?
No, it's not weird, but unexpected, I would say. Square.
I would say shitty.
Yeah, it is definitely shitty news. Square Enix has split with the Hitman creators IO Interactive. They're going separate ways.
Well, kind of. So, Square Enix put up IO Interactive for sale because Square Enix owns IO Interactive.
Yeah.
When they bought IDOS out back a few years ago, they got IO Interactive and their properties. In this case, Kane and Lynch and the Hitman games. Today, Square Enix essentially said, we're putting them up for sale. And if people want to buy them,
yeah,
cool.
So be it.
And if they don't, then we're going to shut them down. Now, the crazy thing is that we have no idea what is going to happen to the Hitman IP once the companies go away, because logically you would think that the Hitman IP that Square would probably want to keep it. But IO's been making Hitman games. Well, they've been the one always making Hitman games. So this also doesn't tell us what's going to happen with the new Hitman Season 2 release stuff, because they'd said already that they were getting ready to do Season 2 and that was a thing that was happening. This kind of came out of left field because I was under the feeling that this last Hitman game did quite well. And of course, this comes on the same day that Square Enix announced record sales and profits across the company.
Yeah.
So this is totally your classic, we did better than ever, and we're going to fire these guys over here and get rid of them to keep making more money. I don't know. They claimed in another article, not the one that I'm looking at right now from Kotaku, but from another article that I was reading, apparently they said that they were trying to write down $42 million worth of debt somehow related to IO Interactive and the Hitman franchise, and I'm not sure if that's development costs that they've already put into season 2 or what that looks like exactly.
They don't go into detail. I'm looking at the financial report here, and it shows where all the wins were, and then at the end of the document, it's like, in addition, they announced that they're going to withdraw from the business of IO Interactive, and their write-down of a loss. So I guess apparently Hitman didn't do very well, which is kind of unfortunate because I think it did quite well in Game of the Year stuff or discussions.
Well,
and
you bought it, right?
Yeah, it's a really good game.
You own it. So I bought it. I haven't played it yet, but I bought it. I know Giant Bomb raved about it all last year. They actually made more videos with Hitman content last year than any other game that they played. And it did win Giant Bomb's Game of the Year. I know lots of other people that absolutely loved that game. They thought it was fantastic. I know that a lot of Hitman fans liked that game, thought it was probably one of the best Hitman games, if not the best Hitman game that they'd ever made. So I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe just the model where they were releasing, it started off with the small morsel content where they were doing the whole, we're going to drop this level, and then a couple months later we're going to drop this level, and a couple months later we're going to drop this level. And then finally, once they kind of felt that they had the whole game together, they said they were going to release that together in a package, and we'll call that season 1. But at the same time, they were also doing a bunch of other stuff in the game. They were doing what were they called? They were essentially hits that were only around for elusive targets, is what they were called. So they would put out a hit on a guy in the game, and that would only be available for, some of them were for 24 hours, some of them were 48 hours. There was a few that were a little bit longer, but usually only 2 to 3 days. And then the idea being that, once you've done that, that's it. They were never going to put those back in again. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of one of those whole ideas that, if you got an opportunity to do it, then cool. And if not, then you missed it, and you maybe missed it forever. But I don't know if it's just the fact that they were putting so much time and energy into the game that, I don't know, maybe Square just didn't feel that they were getting enough money out of it after that. I don't know. Do you know if there was any sort of microtransactions in the game or
in Hitman?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what they were. I haven't spent any money on it.
No, like I said, I bought the game, but I bought it after it had been released.
I bought it on the Steam sale, like whatever.
Yeah. Same. I think it was Christmas or whatever for me.
I don't remember. I think there was some, but either way, it just kind of really stinks because, like you said, people have said it's the best Hitman, and it's a really good game. I find it. I guess the episodic nature of it just didn't cash in for them. Maybe it was a disservice, and buying it piecemeal episode wise didn't pan out. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Hopefully, it's not the last because it's a good game.
Yeah.
It's better than them shutting the studio down. So there is some hope at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. So it is better than them saying, that they've just shut down the studio. They're looking for a buyer. So it's not so dire that everyone's unemployed. But if they don't find a buyer, it could end up being that. And then again, we don't know what's happening with the new content.
Yeah.
Because they said they were doing a season 2.
And even the studio came out and said after this announcement, they pretty much came out and said, well, we're going to keep doing what we're doing until somebody tells me otherwise. So,
yeah.
They're like, we don't really know what the hell's going on, so we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and then if they tell us otherwise, then we'll stop or do whatever. But for now, that's what's going to happen.
So, remember that amiibo that you couldn't find that's really expensive on eBay?
So stupid.
Apparently, fans are making their own amiibo cards for hard-to-get amiibos to get around, the problem of finding them. Though not...
All I wanted was Epona, man. That's all I wanted.
Not the cheapest.
You've got that amiibo, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Next time you come visit, you got to bring it so I can.
That might be that might be in a couple of weeks. We might be coming in, so you have to keep reminding me so I don't forget because I could bring it
because that's the only reason I wanted it. I just wanted Epona.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, amiibo are NFC, basically toys that are downloadable or DLC or extra content in games locked behind little collectible figures. Well, people have gotten smart and figured out how to create their own, basically, amiibo cards.
Just because they just use NFC tags.
Yeah, they're just...
So, I mean, if you have an NFC writer...
There's guides, apparently.
If you have a writer and you have the tag from an amiibo that you want to use, you can essentially scan the tag and then just copy it to a new NFC tag.
Yeah, so some of them are as expensive as buying the actual amiibo when it was available, which is kind of lame. But then I'm on eBay right now, and I'm seeing that there are quite a few collections that I guess they vary in quality. Some of them look really, really freaking good, and some of them don't look that great. They're all using Nintendo. They're totally not official. But I guess if you have to have this problem kind of arises with Breath of the Wild because there's some really good gear and content, like you mentioned with Epona being locked behind a amiibo they haven't made in over a couple of years.
That amiibo was from the Super Smash Brothers one that came out, like you said, like it's a
launch amiibo, which was the easiest one to get 3 years ago now, maybe 4 years ago. I don't even know how long amiibo have been out now. But yeah, and even some of the new ones, like the new Guardian amiibo apparently is one of the more expensive ones now.
Interesting.
And it's one of the brand new Breath of the Wild amiibo. I imagine they're going to make more because they have been getting better with re-releases. Like there's tons of super rare, a lot of the rare Fire Emblem ones that you couldn't get. I see them sitting in stores now. So it just
people wanted those ones.
These amiibo only came out 2 months ago, so that's not to say there isn't going to be more. And then they even announced newer Zelda amiibo that aren't out quite yet, but they unlock some really cool gear in the game that you could unlock ahead of time using some of these cards. They're kind of neat. Some of them look cool. I don't think I'll ever buy them because I'm an idiot and I happen to be in day one with every new amiibo they release. So,
well, and even for me, as much as I think amiibos are stupid, it doesn't mean that I think that we should be pirating amiibos essentially, because that's essentially what this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they've got like right here, $5. Pick one Zelda amiibo, NFC tag card, like Wolf Link with 20 hearts. My Wolf Link has 3 hearts because I haven't beaten that extra dungeon in the Twilight Princess HD on Wii U. So this one's like totally like powered up. But I guess it's cool, not cool. It's cool if it's a solution. If you can't, who wants to pay $100 for an amiibo? Not me.
I don't.
So,
and like I said, it was stupid for me because all I wanted was Epona. I didn't really,
But you can do this yourself. A neat little project. You just have to pick up an NFC tag. I might do this for fun.
That's funny.
Hey, looks kind of cool.
You just got to have some software, and you just got to have the reader.
Yeah, I wonder
the writer.
Wonder where you get an NFC tag from. Who knows? Anyway, kind of neat. Nelson
cards out.
Nelson pointed me to this story, so I think he's one of the other big amiibo collectors out there besides my stupid self.
Before we jump out of the news, Microsoft had a bit of it's kind of a weird thing. They announced some new products. They announced a new version of Windows. They announced the Surface laptop, like about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think it was last week. It looks really sexy. It's super thin. It's super light. It's got the thinnest touch screen that they've ever put on a laptop. It's a really weird thing because they've created a operating system which they're calling Windows 10 S. And the idea behind it is that it's very locked down. They're pushing it as a similar OS to the Chrome OS. So they're going to offer this to their partners, which they're going to be able to put in lower tech versions of laptops and tablets and things like that to try and compete with Chromebooks. But they're also putting it in the new Surface laptop, which is a weird move because some of the limitations of Windows 10 S is you can only install from the store, and Edge is always your default browser, and Bing is always your default search. The idea behind this, at least according to Microsoft, besides the obvious
Chromebook competitor,
we want to make money, where they're trying to position this, and I think that they're not doing a great job of getting this out there to people necessarily, but part of why they're doing this is they're saying that, look, we're doing this from a security perspective. We've vetted programs and things that are in the store. We know that there's not malware and garbage in there. And so they're positioning this initially as towards like students and education type situations where like a school could buy a whole bunch of laptops and it could have Windows 10 S on it. And they're not going to be able to just like go out onto the internet and download whatever the hell they want and install it because it has to be from the store and it's a little bit more locked down and managed.
Mm-hmm.
And also like Edge is included and it runs like a more tightly secure version. So the settings are a little bit different. Also, if you do decide that, hey, that new Windows Surface laptop is a really sexy piece of kit, because I'm not going to lie, it really is. It's super thin. It's super light. It's got a beautiful screen on it. Think of a MacBook Air, but updated with a 2K screen. It's beautiful. Like the hardware is really nice. You can get it with either an i5 or an i7, 8 gigs or 16 gigs of RAM, and SSDs ranging from, I believe, 128 all the way up to 512.
Yeah.
It's, and of course they range, in the US, they start at about $1,000 and they go up from there. In Canada, I think it starts at $1,300 for the base model and they go up from there. And also if you purchase, upcoming, they will also allow you to unlock Windows 10 Pro. So as essentially an upgrade, that will be a free upgrade till October, they've said. So if you do decide to purchase the laptop and you don't need those types of restrictions, but you think the laptop is sexy and you want to use it as a regular laptop, they are offering a free upgrade to Windows 10 Pro, which is great for business users because they can join the domain and do a bunch of crap like that most normal people don't care about. But after that, it will be a $50 upgrade to Windows 10 Pro on their kit. So it's kind of one of those things where on one hand, I look at it and I go, why wouldn't you just offer it with Windows 10, either Pro or just Windows 10 Home on there? But I also understand that like if you buy a Chromebook, you have to install the apps from the Android store.
Yeah.
That's not something that's new, but of course, because it is Microsoft and because we're so used to having our Windows PCs running everything that we want to download and install off the internet, this seems very restrictive, and it definitely feels like Microsoft trying to push people into using the Microsoft Store, which or the Windows Store, sorry, which I don't feel has been overly successful for them. I don't think I've ever opened the Microsoft Store on my computer. Maybe once. I'm not sure.
I've opened it because I've had to update Forza Horizon 3 on PC through there, but yeah,
there you go.
I hate that store. I'm not a fan.
Exactly.
I'm not a fan of installing anything from there. I'm not a fan of how it installs and manages files on your hard drive.
Exactly.
I'm not a fan of a lot of stuff with the Windows Store. It needs to loosen
there's a part of me that I hope that it will get better. Like traditionally, like that is one thing that I do feel like Microsoft's usually pretty good about, is realizing, especially now more so than previously, they do seem to understand, like, oh, this stuff sucks and we need to change that. We're going to work on that and we're going to try and make it better, et cetera, et cetera. It's an interesting move though, because this feels, I don't know if you remember back, let's see, it would have been when they first announced the Surface. They released the Surface and the Surface RT, which ran on an ARM processor, but it was a similar thing. You could only install programs from the Windows Store. It had to be stuff that was off of there. And you know, I had one, I bought one for my wife because she didn't need much in the way of a laptop, and it was fine. But even that, like, she, you know, ran into lots of situations, especially more down the road after a lot of the people sort of dropped off supporting those devices.
Yeah.
Now the beauty of course, in this case, is that the devices are the same. It's not like they're running different hardware, so developers aren't needing to actually change the way they do anything to support them. All they have to do is create a Windows Store app using, the Windows Universal wrapper or whatever it is. The UMD wrapper, sorry. But the hardware underneath is still the same. So it's not like that's changing at all. And like I said, if you really want what is arguably one of the sexiest pieces of kit on Windows, at least.
What's it called again?
The Surface Laptop.
Surface Laptop.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen what it looks like. Sorry, I wasn't in front of the microphone.
No,
Surface Laptop. They're not out yet, right? Obviously.
No, they're not. They are up for pre-order. They're up for pre-order right now in the US.
The new Surface Laptop. There we are.
Yeah.
A year of... Whoa, they're expensive.
Like I said, they're not cheap, but when you look at the hardware and everything that's inside, that's pretty much in line with what I would expect.
So it's more trying to compete with the iPad Pro. That seems way too expensive to wanting to compete with a Chromebook.
Well, see, this is the thing. The Microsoft version of this, the Surface Laptop,
is a high-end device.
Is a high-end device designed more to compete against
iPad
the MacBook,
Pro.
the MacBook Air, really. But where Windows 10S is developed and what it was made for is to go up against the Chromebook crowd.
Yeah.
So essentially Microsoft created an OS that they could give to their partners to say, here, you can make cheap hardware that will run on this. This is a little bit lighter. It's, you know, you're only running apps from the store, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can run that on stuff, and you can now compete against the Chromebook. You don't have to only support the Chromebook. That's what the Windows 10S is set up as. And I think that what Microsoft decided to do was they were like, why don't we create the Surface Laptop? We'll put Windows 10S on it because it would be a great laptop for students and teachers and educational stuff. And if people want to buy this because it's sweet and it's sexy, they can do that. And then we'll give them a free upgrade. Sorry, I lied. The free upgrade is only until December 31st so till the end of this year, you get a free upgrade to Windows 10 Pro if you want.
It looks cool, but you know what it says to me? Not for me.
Yeah.
Definitely not for me.
Like I said, the laptop itself, I think, is a really nice piece of kit. It's beautiful. it's, if you've ever messed with any of the Surface stuff, they did a great job from a hardware perspective of those devices. They're cool.
Yeah, it looks like a freaking MacBook Air when it's shut. It almost has the exact same lines.
Very similar.
Yeah.
It's them making the competitor
looking at
to
it,
that.
looking at it as a laptop, it's a nice option. Looking at it as a Chromebook competitor, I'm like, wait a minute, that's too expensive, but it's more than that. So,
because it's running full hardware, right? That's the thing. This is running full, i7s,
i5
the
processors
processors.
are freaking cheap, but they are.
Well, they can be. If you look at the one that,
there are expensive ones.
Google, their actual version of it, I don't remember what is it.
The Pixel C, I think it is.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No,
it's like $700. So, this is still definitely more money, but you're in that sort of going, okay, well, man, at that point, we might as well almost get a real laptop.
Yeah, exactly. If you're creeping up to $1,000, you better be getting away from a tablet cheapo thingy, and you should be looking at a laptop.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is a cool option.
We actually
you're in that market.
Packed, what is it? An Elite Pad, an HP Elite Pad, which runs like Windows 8.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat little device. My wife was using it when we were in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yep, those are not terrible.
It's not the
hardware
fastest.
in them is pretty light.
It's not the fastest device in the world, but she was watching Netflix and surfing the internet and stuff.
As a tablet, they're great as a tablet.
Yeah.
If you want to surf the internet, do your Facebook games, watch Netflix.
I didn't really test it to see what it was capable of, but I don't think it was capable of much. But
no.
The form factor was nice. Yep. More capable, like you said, tablet. That thing worked well, and it kept her away from my laptop. That's why the whole reason I have a MacBook Air is because it is at least powerful. It's like an i7. It can play games. It can do. I don't play games on it, but it runs like Dota 2 and shit like that. League of Legends, no problem. And
that's what I'm saying is the Surface laptop is going up against that. Right?
Yeah,
because it's got a nicer screen, but very similar hardware inside, and it actually runs real stuff. So,
that's about it for news. Public service announcements. There is not many. Prey is now out. I have not picked it up. Haven't had time to play anything new. I've heard some good things about it. I've heard some bad things about it. It's generally gotten good reviews. Apparently people keep comparing it to a sci-fi. God damn, my mouse is like freaking out on my computer. Sorry, everyone. I'm trying to click here on my screen. It's like, it's basically a BioShock in space. So
that's what I'm hearing it compared to. Yeah.
So the PSA is that there's a demo, an hour-long demo for PS4 and Xbox One. So if you have any interest in it, I think you can get a good feel for it through the demo. I installed the demo on my PS4 and then went on holiday, so I haven't had a chance to play it.
I haven't even bothered. I don't know.
You're just like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like I like sci-fi. I love sci-fi, so I have curiosity to check it out. The other thing that makes me curious is it's the Dishonored guys. It's Arcane Studios. So, loving Dishonored makes me interested in this game.
Different team than Dishonored though, right?
Yeah, same studio though. It's going to have the same chops, right?
Yeah, no. I don't know. I've heard very up and down things about it. Some people were saying, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm on the fence. I'm very, very on the fence. I've heard that the first hour of that game does a very good job of kind of sucking you in to the game, but then the rest of the game doesn't really follow up well with that first bit, if that makes sense. Like, apparently the demo is kind of the best part of that game.
No.
And then it kind of changes and has a different feel a lot more as the game goes on. I don't know. I've heard the combat is not great, which, in a first-person game where combat is kind of important, kind of sucks. I've heard the story is uniquely intriguing. Yeah, I don't know. But again, this is all hearsay, and I have not played it myself, so I can't. It puts me on a little bit of a hind foot when when I look at it and I hear it's fine, and I see 6s, 7s, a few 8s here and there as far as like reviews from other people. So yeah.
I'll be able to check it out. Maybe I'll have more to say about it eventually. But hey, there's a demo, so you can satisfy your own curiosity.
Yeah, but the problem is the demo's not out on the platform that I want to play it on.
Shut up. PC sucks.
Shut your face hole.
I'm obviously kidding. PC's the best. PC Master Race. Consoles suck. Just kidding.
It's a first-person game. That means mouse and keyboard. Also, I've heard that the way the enemies work in that game, like, you want to play it with a PC and a mouse and keyboard. That was actually one of the big... Apparently, that was one of the things that some people were mentioning. Like, they started it on PS4, Xbox One, and switched to the PC. Because of the way the enemies move and stuff like that. They were just like, I couldn't keep up. I needed the speed and the precision of a mouse and keyboard, so... Yeah. So
interesting.
Yes.
So that was the only PSA. Free for all section. Man, there's a lot of trailers that dropped the last week and a half or two. There's a new Defenders trailer. The new
looks super cool.
New Netflix series. What is it? Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
The Mini Avengers. I don't know what you want to call them.
Otherwise known as the Defenders.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah. Looks all right.
That looks cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so there's a trailer for that. That's coming in August, which we already knew from the teaser and that little teaser video they announced or showed a while ago. The Dark Tower had a trailer come out, which is a huge Stephen King series that people freaking love. This is one of those beloved franchises that there's a lot of expectation and pressure on this. Because the Gunslinger and the Dark Tower series is a beloved Stephen King franchise.
It's also huge.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of books.
We're talking like many books, huge books. I'm curious how they're going to work this because I did not read the books, to be fair, up front right now. But I've heard from friends of mine that have read the books that one of the most incredible beginnings of any like series, like it's an incredible like first few books. But by the end, it's so fucking weird and going in so many weird places and weird directions, and that they were even going like, I don't know how on earth they're going to put that onto either TV or film or movie or how they're going to do it. So I'm kind of curious how this is all going to work out because it's a movie. But from what I understand, the Dark Tower it's not just a trilogy. I mean, there's, I think, 7 or 8 books, and they're big ass books. I mean, we're talking Stephen King size books. So I'm kind of curious, like, is this the first book? Are they trying to do the whole story and cut out a bunch of stuff in the movie? Is there going to be a TV show? I kind of want to know more about how they want to work this.
Pretty sure it's going to be probably part of a trilogy or something ridiculous, because that's what everyone does nowadays.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's got some big star power. Matthew McConaughey is the main villain, the Man in Black, and Idris, how do you pronounce it? It's Idris Elba,
Idris
right?
Elba?
Yeah.
Idris Elba.
He's the gunslinger.
So good.
It looks cool.
He's a phenomenal choice for that.
He's an awesome actor. So that is a cool trailer. And then, of course, I think the one I'm most excited about is Blade Runner 2049? That's what it is, right? Blade Runner 2049, a sequel to Blade Runner, sort of, kind of.
Oh, yes.
Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling. Beautiful freaking trailer.
Looks super cool.
It does look cool. I have to go back and watch the other Blade Runner again. I have it on Blu-ray. Yeah, it looks.
As do I.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. That comes out this. When is it? It doesn't even say on the. I'm on a stupid trailer thing, and it doesn't say. Oh, yeah, it's this year, October 6th.
Yeah.
So not a summer movie, but hey,
Early fall.
we need to watch stuff in the fall.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing before we go, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy today.
Yeah, you bastard.
Man, that movie's good. If you like the first one, guess what? You'll like the second one.
No, that's pretty much what I figured.
More of the same. That recipe that they knocked out of the park with the first one. Fuck. What a great movie.
I think Alien Covenant came out this weekend. Or is that next weekend?
I think it's soon. I don't think it's out yet. I do want to see that too. I've heard good.
I swore that.
I've heard decent, good things. Better than Prometheus. Back to the aliens' roots. People are liking it in the screenings that have been happening.
Yeah, I know. I've been hearing really good things about it.
Guardians, man. Oh, so good.
Yeah,
so good.
I really want to see that. I want to try and see if I can
Rocket,
see it this weekend.
Groot, Drax. Oh, what a awesome crew of characters. Man, I love them all. It's so many funny scenes. We'll talk about it more after you've watched it and maybe do a little bit of spoilerish talk over it. But yeah,
definitely.
It gets my thumbs up. Definitely worth a watch.
Fair enough.
I guess with that, my friend, I'm going to say episode 106 is in the can, in the bits, in the gigabits, in the ethers, and on the internet superhighway.
All the gigabytes, all of them.
Thanks for listening, everyone. You can follow me on Twitter at RickF, no K, RICF.
And you can always come along for the ride with me on Twitter at Dayne Cody at DAYNECODY.
Make sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. It's at Geekoholics everywhere. Well, only on Twitter. It's at Geekoholics. Everywhere else it's Geekoholics. You know what I'm saying. Review us on any and all fine podcast services / platforms, and or share us with your friends. And again, thanks for tuning in and listening to us ramble for hours on end. Sorry about missing last week. I was on vacation and being a little late this week.
But we're back.
We're back, biatches.
To the normal schedule.
Until next week, we're out.
Catch you later.
Peace.